All right, man, peace. You know, brothers, in the aftermath of NBA Media Day and, of course, the oncoming NBA season, I think that it's finally starting to dawn on Mr. LeBron James that he may have stepped in something that he may not be able to step out of, especially if the offseason after this regular season does not go how he hopes and how Magic Johnson hopes. And he's also starting to understand the level of patience that he's going to have to exhibit dealing with the youthful energy of the LA Lakers and the inexperience of many of his teammates, mixed in with that expendables dynamic that he's going to have to deal with many of the more prominent members of his team that are cast-offs from other teams. I think that he spent some time in practice with his current team, the LA Lakers, and he understands that, wow, I'm really going to be in a fucked up situation with these guys, because the overall basketball IQ of the team is not going to be that high other than Rondo. And Rondo's basketball IQ is so high, and is high in a way that I believe will eventually come into direct conflict with LeBron James, if not out on the basketball court, definitely behind the scenes in the locker room. Watch out for that this season. LeBron James and Rajon Rondo getting into some type of dust-up down the line, especially when LeBron starts to lose his temper, lose his cool, and lose his patience. And Rajon Rondo has started to take on the air of a mother hen in the locker room, guarding over a lot of the younger players. It happened with him in Chicago. I believe it happened with him in New Orleans, which may have precipitated him getting moved out of that franchise. And I think that it's going to happen again with the LA Lakers, because I do believe that at some point he and LeBron James will come into conflict. But just to get back to LeBron, I think that he's starting to realize that he may be in for a little bit more than he originally thought with many of these young players. So anyway, they're going to talk about it, and I'm going to chime in.
The superstars, LeBron James, getting all settled in the iconic purple and gold. He's being a realist, though, in tempering his expectations. Take a listen.
I'm not a very patient guy, but I understand that I have to be, patient. Right now, I got to be patient with myself too, because this is a new start for me. It's my first year here. It's my first year in a new system.
What new system, LeBron James? Knock it off, man. We all know that the Lakers are going to be playing the LeBron James system, and that's going to be a problem for you this season because you don't have good shooting on your team. So you can already foresee that things are not going to pan out very well for you. LeBron can see it because he does have a very high basketball IQ, despite what many of his detractors may claim. And oftentimes I get guys like that in my comments. They say, well, if LeBron has such a high basketball IQ, how come he can't overcome teams like the Golden State Warriors and the San Antonio Spurs? That's because an individual basketball IQ is never going to be able to overcome a high team basketball IQ. It's just never, ever going to happen. It's the same reason why Oscar Robertson never won shit until he joined up with Kareem. Because Oscar Robertson was the original LeBron. And he never had success until he joined up with Kareem. LeBron is really just Oscar Robertson 2.0. And he's never going to be able to defeat teams with a high basketball IQ. And I do think that his team is going to struggle a bit. I think that their ceiling will be about 51, 52 wins. But it would not surprise me if they only win about 44 games. I'm going to wait and see how those pieces fit together. We all know, once again, the Lakers will not be running any real system. They're going to be running the LeBron James system. And if they do try to run a real system, LeBron James is going to try to get Coach Luke Walton fired. Or I should say assistant coach Luke Walton. He's going to try to get him fired. If Luke really intends on running an actual basketball offensive scheme out there on the floor and trying to make LeBron James play real defense. LeBron is a spoiled brat. He's an absolute spoiled brat. He's gotten his way completely in Cleveland over the last 4 years. He's not accustomed to being told no. Now the liberal media, not even just the sports liberal media, but the overall liberal media is feting him like he's some type of martyr or god, which is an image that he's been lusting after for the last 2 years, ever since he's seen how much attention Colin Kaepernick has been getting. I stated a long time ago that LeBron James has been trying to usurp Colin Kaepernick as the number one most woke athlete. And I think that he's going to utilize a lot of the image engineering that's being performed by Nike to assist him in that endeavor. But I do think that he's going to get a wake-up call very quickly in Los Angeles. Their media, they do not fuck around. They do not care about his image. They don't care about his gestures. They don't care about his wokeness. All they care about out there is championships. And once it becomes apparent that he's mentally fragile, they're going to prey on him like a shark does on a seal.
I know how to play the game of basketball, but this is all new to me too. So, I have to be patient with myself, not only with my teammates, but more with myself.
All right, so keep in mind.
Now, LeBron James stated he has to be patient not only with his teammates, but also with himself. What he's really saying is that Luke Walton may try to force him to play in a real system, and he's going to have to rear back and hold back that natural inclination that he has to try to flip out on Luke Walton early. But eventually, he is going to make Luke Walton play the LeBron James system if Luke truly intends on having him play in a real system. And if Luke does not acquiesce, he is going to try to get Luke fired and expect him to get very, very frustrated with his young teammates early on. And for Rajon Rondo to try to come to his young teammates' defense. Because the same thing happened in Chicago with Rajon when Dwayne Wade tried to attack some of the younger members of the Bulls.
And LeBron recently tweeted the acronym MUD with his teammates. Misunderstood, underappreciated, determined, very clever. Stephen A., what's LeBron's primary concern with this Lakers team?
Well, his primary concern with this Lakers team is that they're going to take a lot of the gloss off of his luster by not performing well. His primary concern is that they're not going to be amenable to the LeBron James system, which is basically stand in the corner, allow me to drive, and if I get double or triple teamed, I kick out to you. If you can't make that wide open jump shot, then I'm going to make sure that the media projects this energy that you can't play. But once again, let me say this. The LA media, they're not going to play that. They're not going to play that. If LeBron James thinks that he's going to marginalize all of his teammates in LA like he did in Cleveland, he better think again.
Well, the primary concern is making sure that those older guys are ready to go, the Rondos, the Lance Stevensons of the world or whatever. I know the younger guys, you're thinking that the older guys are there to help the younger guys. It's the younger guys that you have to be worried about, but their energy is going to be there, and they're going to feed off of the buzz that LeBron James has created. Usually that's how young players operate. The older players know what their roles are, etc., etc., but at the same time, it's not just going to be about LeBron being patient. It's going to be about the others being patient. Remember, Rondo is there not just to be a point guard, but to help elevate Lonzo Ball as a point guard. You're going to have those things to worry about, but here's the biggest thing. Let's understand that when you're talking about LeBron James, it's about a championship. It ain't going to happen this year, but when you're looking at Laker Nation and they're descending down upon LeBron James.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you.
It's their way of reminding LeBron, excuse me, you got Hollywood and everything in between. We've got your 3 championships. We got your 9 finals appearances. But at the end, every single superstar that has ever worn a Laker uniform outside of Elgin Baylor, who retired halfway through the season that they won the chip in the 70s, the bottom line is every one of them has delivered a championship to Laker Nation. And you are...
And let me say this. Every Lakers superstar from the Showtime era onward has had a winning percentage in the finals. LeBron James does not. And getting to the finals is not going to be good enough for LeBron James if he's truly intends. And getting to the finals and looking for some type of half credit is not going to be good enough for LeBron James in regards to building up a good rapport with the LA media. This is not Cleveland. If he thinks that getting to the finals and receiving a participation trophy is going to happen with Laker Nation like it did with Cavs Nation, he better think again.
Are going to be beholden to that same kind of obligation, just the same way the other superstars that have donned the purple and gold have been able to.
LeBron's primary concern,
Yes.
There are concerns, but the primary concern is real simple. Lonzo Ball. And I will explain why. Kuzma can play. He can score. If Kuzma never gets any better, he's a pretty good player. That's a pretty nice player already. If he just...
Right, but I say this all the time, and this happens in all sports. Someone gets drafted into a professional sports league, whether it be basketball or football, and they have a pretty good season. In basketball, a rookie may get drafted. He averages 17 points a game, and everyone prognosticates him as the next star. Well, sometimes people get drafted. They average 17, 18 points a game, and that's what they do for their entire careers. We don't know if Kuzma's going to get any better. We don't know if Ingram's going to get any better. To be quite honest with you, they seem to have too many of the same type of player on their team. 6'7", 6'8", small forward slashers who really cannot shoot from the outside. That's why I think that LeBron James is waiting on them to package a couple of those young players for an established star. He's going to play the good guy role for now, as long as he can maintain his patience. But he already knows that at least one of, if not two of, or maybe even three of those guys have to go. Could be Ingram, could be Kuzma, could be Ball, who knows. But at least two of those guys are going to be shipped off for an established star. And it will have to happen in a trade because I don't think that any big-time free agents are going to want to come to play with a LeBron James. But we'll see what happens.
It just stays like this. Ingram is coming. This guy was the number 2 pick in the draft. And what can't he do? And eventually you can project, do at a high level. I mean, this guy looks like he's going to be an all-star in the not-too-distant future.
That's saying a lot, Mr. Max Kellerman. Because right now, Brandon Ingram is nowhere near an all-star. He's developing into a nice player. He's developing into a productive player. But to say an all-star, that's a bit of a stretch.
And he's already pretty damn good. You have veterans like Rondo you mentioned. We know what Rondo brings. You have guys like at the 2, Hart and the veteran in KCP. They can both shoot, they can defend. We know what everyone can do on this team. Lance Stephenson's a bit of a wild card, but we know he can defend and do certain things.
Well, that will be his job. Lance Stephenson's job will be to act as an irritant against the opposing team's better perimeter scorers, whether it be Kevin Durant, James Harden, Russell Westbrook. His job will be to see if he can get under the opponent's skin like he was able to get under LeBron's skin.
Lonzo Ball was the number 2 pick in the draft, and he can defend, and he's a brilliant passer, and his teammates seem to like him and all that stuff.
Right, but what exactly will Lonzo's role be on this team? Will he be allowed to handle the ball as much as he should be when you have a player like a LeBron James and a Rajon Rondo on the team? Or will he be marginalized? Much is made of Brandon Ingram and how he was able to take on some point guard duties. So, what does the future hold for Lonzo Ball?
But the man can't shoot. He shoots. You're supposed to shoot the ball from here, Stephen A. You were a shooter in college. It's a hinge, right up here. He shoots from here. Now, I give him credit. He's brought it to over here.
Yeah, his form looks much better.
And at this rate, if next year he's here and then in 5 years he'll shoot it like you're supposed to. But he shot the ball from the wrong shoulder. He's moved it over a little bit. If Lonzo Ball is boom, there is no stopping the Lakers. Maybe not.
Right, but how exactly is he going to be boom in an offense like this that's going to be, of course, predicated on making sure that LeBron James dominates the basketball? LeBron can act as if he's going to play off the ball. But if he sees, in his view, what appears to be dysfunctionality at any point in the season, he's going to take back over ball handling duties.
Not this year, they got to learn it, but going forward, they can have a dynasty. If Lonzo Ball is bust, this is not going to work. They're going to have to move it.
Oh, what's not going to work?
The Lakers.
What do you mean the Lakers are not going to work?
They ain't winning a championship.
Ever?
Lonzo Ball is bust.
I'm saying ever. In the
They
LeBron era?
They will have to get rid of Lonzo in order for it to work.
Okay.
Well, we could look for them to possibly be shopping Lonzo at the All-Star break if that team is under 500. I have no doubt about that. Magic and Rob Pelinka, as well as LeBron, are going to appraise how well the team fits together and who they view to be the most expendable. And I promise you that Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka are going to give a far greater ear to LeBron James than the front office at Cleveland was doing for LeBron James. And even they would oftentimes acquiesce to many of his wishes. Miami, of course, would not at all. And that's why he was his most successful in Miami. Because they had a brain trust that actually knew what they were doing, and they knew that he had to be coached. These other teams, they don't coach LeBron. They allow him to have far too much prominence in regards to the decision-making and the overall schematics out there on the basketball court.
Point is, when Lonzo does so many things so brilliantly at such an early age, it comes down to, can he shoot the ball? That should be LeBron James' primary. Everything else we know about. If Lonzo Ball winds up being a guy who can shoot, the ball, there will be no stopping the Lakers.
Well, first of all, I disagree with you there. Listen,
Yeah, I disagree as well. There's going to be a lot stopping the Lakers. Even if Lonzo comes back and he's a relatively proficient shooter, they're still not going to win the championship. Neither this year, next year, or the year after that. What they're going to need is to land a big-time free agent that actually wants to play with LeBron James. And I think that's going to be very, very difficult for that to occur, other than possibly landing an Anthony Davis, which goes back to my point about them trying to execute a big-time trade by the All-Star break. They certainly have the young pieces. And if Anthony Davis starts talking and running his mouth about how much of a malcontent he is in that organization, say, for example, the New Orleans Pelicans get off to a 17-28 start before the All-Star break, and he's frustrated, I could certainly see him demanding a trade. And seeing as how LeBron James' friend and business partner, Rich Paul, is Anthony Davis' agent, one could see how it should be relatively easy for that deal to be cemented.
the bottom line is that we're looking at a Lakers franchise that you're talking whether it's Anthony Davis, Kawhi Leonard, or whatever the case may be. You're gonna add something next summer because you're gonna have enough to add another max player next summer. That's number one. Number two, when we look at
Speculatively, one can assume that they're going to have enough to add a max player. But what max player wants to team up with LeBron James? That's the real question.
Look at Lonzo Ball. Let's be clear about something here. He is a cerebral mind on the basketball court, highly intellectual, knows how to play the game of basketball, incredibly unselfish. I'm going to say it, what I harped on about him. Everybody was getting on me for getting on Lonzo Ball last year. I never got on him about, you mentioned the shot all the time. My thing was I never mentioned the shot. I knew he had to improve it, but I never mentioned it. What I continuously focused on was aggression, assertiveness. You cannot be passe in the NBA playing the point guard spot. You have to be aggressive.
I think he was a little bit too cool for school last year.
Rondo is no shooter, but he is in attack mode. And as a point guard, especially in an era where now LeBron James wants to get off the ball more supposedly and wants to delegate that responsibility, or supposedly, I said this is what he's saying. You want to...
Thank you, sir. I believe that Stephen A. Smith suspects exactly what I suspect, which is that you cannot teach an old dog new tricks. All LeBron knows is dominating the basketball. I just don't see him turning into Kevin Durant at 34 years old. I don't see it. I see him being someone who's going to want to run the offense. He's going to want everything to run through him. And that is going to be the genesis of the breakdown in that locker room. When it occurs, in my view, it will occur. And it will probably center around LeBron James versus Rajon Rondo.
You want to delegate that's a responsibility to somebody else. It's got to be somebody that instigates and initiates action.
But Stephen A.
You cannot be passive.
Stephen A.
That is the problem with Lonzo.
Fine, get a little more aggressive. The point is that being more aggressive, that's a mindset. Fixing your shot is a mechanical thing.
Do you think that's smart?
What's that?
To fix the shot, to change it, to use an old dog new
you
tricks?
can't shoot like this.
How could it not be smart, Molly Karam? Lonzo Ball was the worst shooter in the NBA last year. He had to do something. If he was truly serious about maintaining the course that he and his father view themselves to be on in regards to Lonzo becoming a star in the NBA, he had to alter his shot. He was the worst shooter in the NBA. And when you look at his free throw percentage, I'm not sure if he was last in the league with free throws. But at point guard, you're shooting 40%, 44%, whatever he shot. It was horrific.
Like this. You can't shoot like this.
Of course not.
But you don't think it's going to screw him up more?
Maybe at first, but eventually, and he can't shoot like this either. He
ain't
got to
gonna
shoot
get
over
much worse.
here.
He ain't got nowhere to go with
So
that.
if it's a little at a time, whatever. But that's the whole shooting match. Aggression, that's a mindset. And by the way, Lonzo and LeBron are not the only guys who can get you into your offense. That's the thing about this Lakers team. What Magic went and did was counterintuitive. It wasn't...
Right, but Max Kellerman, after a while, how many guys do you need to get you into your offense? You need guys who can actually provide offense. That's the real issue. It's like a team that has 3 great quarterbacks but no wide receivers. Where are their shooters? They have all these ball distributors, but who's going to make the threes? Who's going to make the outside shots?
Surround him with shooters. It was surround him with playmakers. You know who else can get you into your offense? The truth is, Lance Stevenson can. You know who else?
Good luck with that.
Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram can run the point.
You're diluting your own argument.
No, Stephen A. You're saying be more aggressive because you're the point guard.
I'm saying if you want Lonzo to be relevant, That's why I'm saying everything ain't predicated on him. If he's going to be more aggressive, it works for them, he'll play. If he doesn't, he won't play. And they got the other people that you mentioned.
I agree with that, sir. There's a reason why the Lakers have brought in so many playmakers, because they're not quite sure about what Lonzo Ball is going to become. So they have to make sure that they have as many supplementary playmakers as possible.
Lonzo Ball can shoot. He will be a star. If he can shoot, you talk about aggression, he can do everything else at such a young age. It's ridiculous how well he can do so many things. If he can shoot, he's a star. The Lakers are a monster. Because then you think, and they got Ingram, and Kuzma, and whoever else they're going to sign, and LeBron James.
Right, but they need their young guys to develop. And that takes us back to LeBron James' original assertion in regards to his patience. Impatience can destroy something that's very good in the process of it growing into its goodness. Sometimes you have to wait. When you put a cake in the oven, you could have prepared it perfectly, but if you take it out too soon, you're going to ruin the cake. So it's all going to boil down to LeBron James' patience.
Not to mention the role players I mentioned, like Hart and KCP, who can do things. If Lonzo Ball can't shoot, it is not the same team. That's the whole shooting match, so to speak.
The point that I'm trying to make to you is that,
Max Kellerman, if you're going to pin the hopes of the LA Lakers this season on Lonzo Ball magically becoming Steph Curry, I have news for you. They're hopeless. That's not what this season is going to be about. This season is going to be about how well LeBron James is able to raise up the level of belief in his teammates. It's also going to be about how much power he's willing to divest over to the coach, Luke Walton. That's what's going to determine their upside this year, because they're not going to win a championship. That's why he himself has stated that it's going to be about his own patience, because he knows that he has a certain amount of power. And if he exerts that power too quickly, what he's going to do is prove his detractors correct. That being that as soon as he comes in, whoever's coaching is a dead man walking. I think that LeBron James is cognizant of that, and he's trying to controvert that sentiment. But we'll see how long he's able to maintain his composure, or his patience per se, while he's trying to maintain that facade. Because I have little doubt that Luke Walton is indeed a dead man walking.
everyone knows that Lonzo needs to shoot the basketball better. And him being able to do that is ultimately going to help the Lakers. But their success or lack thereof isn't predicated on him, because they have a multitude of individuals who can step in and fulfill the role he's supposed to fill in the event that he does not do it.
There are some
Agreed.
some teams where you take a player and now the way you think of them changes the way you think of the whole team. You think of
Right, but that's really you trying to implant your thoughts about what Lonzo Ball should be on Lonzo Ball. You believe that Lonzo Ball is going to be a superstar sooner than he probably will be. That's assuming that his ceiling is superstar level. As of right now, I look at Lonzo as a potential star. A guy who might play 12, 13 years in the league and maybe make 2 All-Star teams. That's what I'm seeing right now from him, at best. Now, if he can prove me wrong, then he just proved me wrong. If he's someone who can get to the level where he can consistently make a jump shot, then of course that will raise his ceiling. But no, the hopes of the Lakers are not pinned on Lonzo Ball, not at all.
think of Lonzo Ball as a flawed player who can do some nice things. You think of the Lakers one way. Now imagine Lonzo Ball as a star player. Your whole perception of the Lakers is different now. They spent the 2nd overall pick on the draft on him. They did the same thing with D'Angelo Russell, and it didn't work out to the point where they had to move him just to get rid of a contract.
Lonzo Ball has to show that he's worthy of being the number 2 overall pick.
Let's also keep in mind that the main reason why they moved D'Angelo Russell is because of the contention that he caused in the locker room with Nick Young. Lonzo Ball is completely different. Lonzo Ball has an issue with how he's performing on the basketball floor. It's not in regards to his relationship dynamics with his teammates in the locker room. D'Angelo Russell had to go.
But even in the event that he does not, it does not alter the Lakers in terms of the direction that they're moving in and the plan that they have in place. He helps it if he plays well. If he doesn't, there are other people who can do it. That's why I'm saying he doesn't. He's not the priority you're making him out.
LeBron's primary concern with the Lakers, Lonzo Ball shot.
Okay.
One other thing I think also is they got to get off to a quality start, because it's a deep West, and seeding 3 through 8, they were separated by 2 games last season. They can't fall behind.
I don't think so.
I agree with Stephen A. Smith. I don't think that they have to get off to a great start. Why is that? Because most of LeBron James' teams, when he first gets there, they don't get off to a great start. They just finish well. And that's what I'm anticipating with the Lakers. I think that they're going to win anywhere from 48 to 53 games, 53 being the ceiling. Right now, the floor, I would say, was probably somewhere around 44, even though I would pick them to win no less than 48. But it's going to be very interesting to see how their team develops. I do think that they will be a playoff team, but they are going to have some travails over the course of this season. And LeBron knows that.
No, I think you're wrong over there, because when it comes to LeBron James, it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. It's how they end the season. It's not how they begin it. They're going to start off.
It was that tight.
But they're going to start off struggling.
Yep.
The key is, how are you going to finish in February, March, and April?
Exactly, but I'm saying playing the catch up there.
Well, we don't have to worry about them playing too much catch-up, Molly Karen. The Lakers have enough talent that they should make the playoffs, barring any type of catastrophic injury to LeBron James. I just don't see that being too much of an issue, but you never know. You never know. There are going to be some teams that step up this year. If I was to pick a team that the Lakers will make the playoffs instead of, I would watch out for Portland falling off. I think that they're a team that had to suffer through a great deal of psychological damage, psychological trauma in the aftermath of getting swept by the New Orleans Pelicans. So I could see them falling off, maybe only winning 41 games and missing the playoffs. I could also see New Orleans having lost some of their better players falling off, but we'll see. We'll see. If Anthony Davis has the season that I think that he's going to have, and he plays at least 75 games, they should make the playoffs. So we're going to find out. But anyway, peace.